Hello and welcome. We have a very special guest with us here today on the NDTV network for an exclusive interview. It's the Second Lady of the United States, Miss Usha Vance. Miss Vance, NDTV की दर्शकों की तरफ से आपको नमस्कार.
Namaskar.
So this trip to India, what was it that you were looking forward to the most?
Oh, it's hard to say. My children have never been to India, which is a terrible oversight, but also just the circumstances of my husband's campaigns and everything. So just allowing them to see all the things that they've heard about, they love Indian food, so having the opportunity to eat only Indian food while we're here was something we were thrilled about. And then of course seeing sites like the Taj Mahal and meeting the Prime Minister. Those were very special as well.
What did the children like the most about the Amir Fort today? You said they've got this thing about swords and fighting. So I think, so did they sort of feel they were in a fairy tale castle? What did they like the most about the Amir Fort?
So as you know, it's a spectacular fort set high up on the hills, and you really feel its defensive capabilities and why it was built where it was. And they're very interested in pretend battles. So they were up there kind of imagining themselves defending against an army. They read about Indian history, so I think they had a good sense of the types of rulers and militaries that would have been present there. So they were just enacting the entire thing in their imaginations.
But what about the youngest one? I mean, she's just all of 3. I mean, she's really tiny.
Yeah. Well, she's the youngest of 3, so she thinks that she is a 7-year-old boy, and she plays just like the other 2. So she's part of the game.
But what did you and the Vice President like, especially at the Amir Fort?
Well, I mean, obviously the architecture is spectacular, and we really enjoyed seeing the mix of cultures that were brought in when they were building it in the first instance. So you see the Persian influence, and of course you see elements of Hinduism with the lotus references, and it was just a really interesting representation of the position that the Mughal Empire had at the time and the way that they were sort of projecting themselves. So it was a fascinating study in history.
There's a lot of curiosity about what's going on in your kitchen. Everyone is most interested because the Vice President himself has said that he was a meat and potatoes man until he met you, and then your mother taught him how to cook. So now everyone wants to know, what is it that he cooks for you?
Well, he's very experimental. He'll try anything. So he's done everything from chana masala to has been making a specialty of desserts recently. So our children especially enjoy that. And he's tried various lamb dishes. He sort of, whatever strikes his fancy, he goes, finds the right recipe and prepares it.
So in your home, what does a traditional Indian meal look like?
Well, my family is from Andhra Pradesh. And
they have the most amazing cuisine.
Yes, I think so, although we've been enjoying the food of other areas as well while we're here. So my mother and grandmother are both excellent cooks, and my father too actually makes very good dosa, pasaratu, things like that. So I mean, I think it looks exactly like what you might imagine. Sometimes it's very simple and it's sambar and rice and some sort of kura. Sometimes it's a little more complicated and my mom pulls out all the stops and makes pulao or something, or a few dishes. But it's a vegetarian household, so that usually defines it.
And the Andhra cuisine is famous for its chutneys. Do you manage to get all the ingredients together there?
I am not a preparer of chutneys, but my grandmother makes wonderful chutneys, and I think she manages to figure it all out. She gets the ingredients at the Indian stores near us.
Well, that's wonderful. There was something else that I was reading about you, and the fact that at your wedding, you had a traditional Indian ceremony and you also had a traditional American ceremony. And it's a beautiful metaphor for the way people across the globe are coming together culturally. And was that very important to you?
Well, it was very important. We got married in Kentucky, which is the state where my husband's family was from, but we had so many people fly from all over the world, including India. And so both our guest list and the ceremonies were sort of a representation of our very different backgrounds coming together. And my parents, of course, were married in a traditional Hindu ceremony. And so when I imagined weddings and what that might look like, I imagined the pictures that I'd seen of them or of my grandparents getting married. So it was quite important to me to have both elements.
So your next trip now is going to be to the Taj Mahal, to Agra. What are you looking forward to for that?
Well, I mean, of course, it's one of the wonders of the world, and I haven't been there now in, I think, 2 decades, maybe a little bit longer. So I've I've seen photos recently. I know it's been beautifully preserved. It looks spectacular. And I know that when I take my kids there, their jaws are just going to drop because they love architecture and they are going to be just completely amazed by what was built here all that time ago.
Most children, are they full of questions? What's the kind of questions they ask?
Well, right now, as I mentioned, they're very into military history. So there are a lot of questions about that. But my children are also, this is maybe not specific to the Taj Mahal, but they're very interested in the Mahabharata and the Ramayana and stories like that. So they have lots of questions about that, and they're always looking for references everywhere they go. And we've been lucky, of course, to see a puppet show at the Prime Minister's residence, and we've seen, paintings and all sorts of things where they know exactly what the story is just from seeing it on site. So they have lots of questions about those.
So what was the puppet show? That must have been very fascinating for them. Is it the first time? I mean, I don't think that's culturally, it's slowly kind of even fading out. So was that something that the children really enjoyed?
It was something they enjoyed. We saw a few styles of puppeteering, and they were all executed, so skillfully. But the one that really caught their imagination was actually from Andhra Pradesh. It had these sort of leather, flat puppets against a shadow screen. And that just blew their minds. It was a story of the Ramayana, and there were these different Hanumans who were of different sizes and flying, and it was just spectacular.
When you were looking forward to coming to India, a lot of people said, and interpreted it as a sort of the children coming back to their cultural roots. In that sense, is this, because it's a part leisure trip and it's part of course there's an official aspect to it also, but was that important to you?
Oh, I mean, certainly. We knew that there would be an opportunity, and an important opportunity for JD to come in his capacity as Vice President for diplomatic purposes, But we always knew that when that opportunity arose, we would all come with him because, like I mentioned, we haven't had a chance to bring our children here, and it's been something they've been dying to do, that we have been dying to do with them. And so we took the first opportunity we could get. I
think they were a big hit. Everyone was talking about their lovely outfits when they got off. Everyone was most intrigued and most there was a lot of adulation online for their lovely kurtas and the dresses that they were wearing, which was very carefully and I think well thought out. And did you do the shopping for them?
I did, yes. I found this website that sources outfits from India, and I really just enjoy their selection. So I picked a few favorites before this trip, and they'll probably wear some tomorrow because they really enjoy wearing them.
But for you and the Vice President, what has been special about this trip?
Well, this is also JD's first trip here, and there have been a few things that are special. I mean, first, he's heard many stories from my parents or from me about our heritage, about their upbringing, and to sort of see in real life what it's like, I think has been just really very special for him. And then beyond that, this is, of course, it's a very important country. It's a country that is young and growing and vibrant, and I think he has been very impressed by many things that he has read about India and its culture and its trajectory, and to get to see it in real life and feel just how alive it is, I think has been really exciting.
Yes, absolutely, because I mean, even your journey, to the United States and, your parents, you come from such an intellectual family, and you're really, in that sense, a lot of people aspire to that in India. To study there and to contribute to American society in that sense. Would you feel somewhere that you do embody that aspiration of the Indian?
I think so. I mean, I think that my parents brought with them many traditions of scholarship, of a respect for knowledge, of sort of the primacy of books and learning in life. And that translated to the way that they built their household, and that in turn has translated to the way that we've built ours. I mean, when I say my children are interested in things like the Mahabharata and the Ramayana and all these stories, it's because they're surrounded by books, and that is an inheritance from my parents and in turn from our family in India.
So what else is planned ahead? Just some quiet family time, apart from going to the Taj, of course, you have an evening today and some time tomorrow. So what are the plans?
Well, my husband has a speech to give today, so we'll go do that next. And apart from that, we have any number of activities planned. I think my children are about to take a lesson in making pottery, which they're very excited about. They're very enthusiastic
Even the
artists.
Little ones.
Yeah, yes, of course.
So she's part of everything, I think.
Part of everything. She is always involved in everything. And let's see, they're very, very interested in peacocks. Currently, their favorite bird may be tied with certain eagles, and so we're hoping to go find some to look at as well today. I think that'll be a big hit.
And you know, there were these two elephants who were out there at the Amir Fort, all gaily dressed and wanting to say hello. So were there any special takeaway movements? Because they gave a salute as soon as you were walking out. The Chanda and Pushpa were their names.
Oh, is that
and,
right? And
yes, and they've been practicing for some time to give the royal salute.
The salute, we were very impressed by the salute. I actually didn't know that they'd been training for this, but I thought it was incredible that they were able to do it on command in that way. They're obviously very intelligent creatures. I would say I and our children really appreciated that. We also thought that the dancing was very beautiful, and that caught, as you might have noticed, that caught their attention for a lot of the time. I think my children really enjoy dancing themselves without that level of skill. So they were, it's just for fun. You know, they're very small, but they're always looking for dance performances to watch when they can.
Yes, all children, I think, they just love to just do a little, you know, and especially in Indian numbers, they love to dance. But all in all, just to wind up, because this is our last question, all in all, if I were to ask you to explain this in a nutshell, this whole trip for you personally, how would you explain it for yourself, your family, and for the children, and for the Vice President also?
Well, as we were actually just describing it last night, it is in many ways a trip of a lifetime, because while I've been to India many times, it's been something that I've wanted to share with my new nuclear family, my husband and my children. And so we think of it as sort of a gateway, the first of many trips to come, I hope, and a chance to allow them to enjoy something that they've already grown up appreciating and loving. So it's very special for that reason.
So thank you so much. और जैसे हिंदी में कहते हैं NDTV की तरफ से from the viewers of NDTV, namaste, and thank you so much for taking out time in what is a very, very special trip for you to speak to us. Thank you so much, Ms. Vance.
Well, thank you very much. It's been a pleasure.